some friends of ours from Germany, the Beckers, came over and visited. They'd used to live in America, and they had gone back in the 60s, and they came and visited, and we had made the arrangement that we would switch kids. Ulrich Becker would come over for 81, 82, and then I would go over for 82, 83. And so Uli came over, we had a great time. It was very eye-opening to us to have a foreign exchange student in the house. You know, it's just weird having, you know, another brother suddenly, but then the different insight they have to, you know, how they are raised, they have a different point of view, and it takes your point of view, which tends to be somewhat narrow from the upcoming you have, and then expand it a bit and realize that this is a really neat thing. I was a little scared about going to Germany, but I went to Germany for a year. I had a great time, traveled over, I learned how to speak German. I saw Paris, I got to meet Dot, our cousin, and I just had a great time and learned a lot and expanded my view even, you know, with Uli coming, it came from here to here, and I went to Germany, just went here. I had far better understanding of the world in general. I mean, certainly more out there, but and my dad appreciated the experience it was for me, and he understood the value of the foreign exchange. That was a private exchange, but then he was a member of Rotary, and they had an exchange program, and he saw it was kind of faltering or wasn't really supported well, so he took that on.
Perhaps the greatest thing that Bill Putaansuu ever did, though, and I have to say this with a lot of respect, he was the international exchange program chair for Rotary. And he believed in that, and he loved that program, and he convinced me to join Rotary because of that. Because, well, we had to quit Kiwanis over the fireworks booth because it was getting dangerous, Bill said. And we thought maybe it was time to do something different before we killed ourselves in a fireworks booth. But anyway, he got me to join Rotary, and I did so because he convinced me that the Rotary International Student Exchange Program was a good thing, and I would be involved in it. I'd like to be involved. He wanted me to get involved with him in it. So I did. And I will tell you that probably the greatest thing that Rotary ever did was the International Exchange Program for students, and Bill was the driving force behind that in our club, and became the District 5020 regional chair. And
again, it was for the kids, and Bill spent a tremendous amount of time on that and really ratcheted the program up a step or two. It's a lot better.
He loved the kids, and he loved to joke with them, and actually his relationship with the kids was more on an equal basis than it was as a mentor. He was always a teacher, and he was always there to teach, but he had his great sense of humor, and the kids just loved him. And you know, if they were more like a buddy to him than anything else, and if they had a problem, you know, he was right there.
Exchange students, he got a huge reward out of blessing people. I mean, being in charge of the exchange student program as long as he was, is in a lot of ways is a thankless job that nobody else will ever be able to do as good as he did. And he loved to take the exchange students up and take them up to whatever that Mount Washington is on Vancouver Island. He just would glow about that, and just taking up there. He loved to take the the exchange students for the first time ever to go skiing down to the house in Sun River. Like I said, he always traveled with the crowd. He just loved to expose these kids, and it was all about, you know, about other people.
This is the three girls in the hot tub.
Lena from Denmark, look at her come down here miles an hour. And right behind her is Kirsten. Hi, Kirsten. And Lena.
Bill loved the exchange students, and he had so much fun with them. And he went to a lot of the CBEC retreats and stuff with the kids, the orientation. And one of the ways that he woke the kids up was he'd go in with his guitar every morning and sing "Good Morning to You" and wake the kids up and get them out of bed for breakfast. And he told me this one story about how a group of the kids had gotten together in Europe and called him at 2 o'clock in the morning and sang "Good Morning to You" to him at 2 a.m. And he just laughed about that story. He enjoyed it so much.
We just had all these students going throughout all the place, and he kept those contacts up. he would keep contact with them in Europe or wherever places they were, and he would use that because he would travel to Europe, and he rarely ever had to pay to stay any place because he had so many students. He could just hop from student to student. They loved to see him because they loved Dad. He was just this wonderful guy, and would stay at their place, have a great time, and then go on different places. So it was good for the students as well as for Bill. So we had a great time. Later on, after Mom had died, Dad went skiing in Europe and did Club Med, and just loved skiing up there. And of course, he was skiing with his skiing buddies. He just went by himself and just dove in, found some buddies there, and just skied with people there. Had a great time. And then he was telling him, because after he was done skiing, he was scheduled to meet some of the foreign exchange students, and he was talking about the German students that were going to go pick him up after he was done skiing with his buddy friends, and they were probably thinking these big stout German blonde guys with the cap on and all these things. But when they were done and they were down in the lodge or down in the city waiting for the rides to pick him up, Dad was sitting in the seat with the table with his back against the doors, the windows, the glass doors. And so the guys were watching out, and this van pulls up, and all these 20-year-old beautiful girls get out. All these German girls, a couple German girls he knew, and of course they were in high school when he knew them, but of course they got in their 20s and got better looking. And then they brought their fans. So it was just this mob of pretty girls come in and basically mobbed my dad, and the guys, his buddies were just aghast, just like, these are your German friends?
He loved water balloon volleyball. I was surprised to learn that another Putaansuu family member had actually started it, but he would be the one that would bring all the balloons and bring extra wheelbarrows and work hard to make the fun happen. And everybody wants to be part of the fun, but Bill also would be behind making the fun happen.
All the balloons got filled up with water, and they would go back and forth over a badminton or a tennis net and be caught with towels and then flung back over the net. And it was a great sport, and everybody laughed, and people got wet, and it was so much fun. And Bill introduced the exchange students to water balloon volleyball. And it was such a great way for the kids to get acquainted and loosen up and just have fun with each other, because they came from all over the world and didn't know anybody, and here they were on teams of playing water balloon volleyball, and they just had such a great time. And then we noticed that it even became one of the pictures on CBEC's webpage, that you could look up CBEC and there was water balloon volleyball.
I was talking to some of the Rotary people the other day who are involved with the exchange program now, and they have I think it's a water volleyball tournament for the exchange students. They call it the Bill Putaansuu Water Volleyball Tournament.
After Bill passed away, several people sent letters, and one that really hit me strongly was a student, a foreign exchange student who'd been from India, and he'd gone on in life and gotten his master's and had gotten his doctorate degree also. And he wrote to say he was really sad to hear about Bill's passing, because he would never forget Bill for what he'd done for him personally. I guess this boy had gotten over here on the Rotary Exchange program, and apparently the deal of the place where he was supposed to stay fell through, and it looked bad for him. And Bill got up in front of the Longview Rotary and said, "This is a wonderful kid. He's amazing. We have got to step up to the plate and make sure this kid gets to stay." And someone did, and I guess he was a wonderful foreign exchange student. The Longview Rotary still remember him well. But I couldn't help but thinking what it would be like to have someone like Bill kind of stand up for you. And that's what the kid said is this was the first time in his life someone besides his parents had stood up for him and said, "You're worth it." And Bill was like that. He thought the youth were worth it. He'd go, "Wow, they're the most amazing people." And he wasn't like, "Oh, those stupid kids, what are they doing?" He was right in there with them, probably leading them down the bad path. But That was Bill.
And here's Satoko, our exchange student from Japan. And if she looked this way, we could see her face. Hi, Satoko. There's Lena from Denmark on the right, and Kirsten from Deutschland on the left. And they're all headed for Victoria for a wonderful time.
This is Bill Putaansuu before we left to go to Vancouver Island, Canada.
Yes, and it's a stormy day. The kids are going to have about a 20-mile stormy sea trip to get across to Vancouver Island. It's going to be a lot of fun for them. I'm in Fiddler on the Roof this weekend, so I can't go with them, and this will be the first time I've missed it in years.